Hi, this is Satyan Bharti, and we are here at Open Source Summit in Denver, Colorado. And today we have with us once again Mukul Karnik, Director of OpenSearch Software Foundation. Mukul, it's great to have you back on the show.
Great to see you, Swapnil, again.
It's my pleasure. And we talked when the Open Search was contributed to Linux Foundation last year in September. So first of all, just for our viewers who may not know, I doubt that they don't know, but just quick intro. What is Open Source Foundation all about? And then we'll talk about it's almost not 1 year, but almost 1 year, the milestones, progress of the project.
Yeah, definitely. So OpenSearch is open source search and log analytics platform, and the project was created in 2021. And as we are discussing, it was contributed to the Linux Foundation in September of last year. And so it's a powerful search and analytics platform, also used in many GenAI use cases for it's a leading vector database, and now evolving in agentic use cases as well.
Excellent. Thank you. And now let's talk about 3.1, and then also reflect on it in 1 year. How do you look at it?
Yeah, so reflecting first on the 1 year, and then I'll get to the 3.1 launch. I mean, it's been an amazing journey. In the last 1 year, we've seen a significant acceleration in momentum. We're already seeing, a lot of momentum going into the Linux Foundation, but since then we've seen even further acceleration. Just one of the stats we had seen in the last 6 months, we've seen a 46% increase in active contributors compared to the previous 6 months before that, and that was already growing. So it's a pretty big jump in the number of contributors, number of meaningful contributions that are coming into the project, whether it's related to GenAI, vector database search, or even some fundamental improvements to the platform. So a lot of really good momentum coming into to the project. And then talking about the 3.0 and the 3.1 launch, I would say the 3.0 launch was a leap forward moment for OpenSearch project. It was our biggest launch since we moved to the foundation. And there's improvement in performance, there's improvement in various capabilities, whether it's search or like agentic AI capabilities. We introduced agentic AI capabilities, and also observability capabilities. So a lot of different areas of innovation.
Excellent. Thank you. I will talk about when we look at the growth and momentum. There are two kinds, adoption. Right. And then second is also the growth of the community, because open source, and also, of course, there are a lot of, first of all, where the project came from. That's pretty obvious. Then the whole ecosystem, which also includes vendors, users, contributors. So can you also look at these different constituents of this project and where you see the maximum growth and you're either excited about, or where you're like, this is the area we have to still improve?
Yeah, great question. So, we have now 90 plus partners of the project. We have, we are seeing a lot of, as I was saying, a lot of increase in the number of active contributors of the project. We are also seeing one big thing, which is, I think, very important for any project, is the number of meaningful contributions. Because you can have people come in and make small tweaks and improvements, which is all good and needed, but you also need people to come in and have the deep understanding of the code base and be able to make those meaningful contributions. And we have been starting to see that in the last 6 to 8 months, where I think there's a blog that Uber just published last week where they talk about how they're leveraging OpenSearch to power their Uber Eats search platform. And it shows how they have made meaningful contributions to OpenSearch and then take that and sort of reimagine their search. And so it's just one of the many use cases that we have on our community members use OpenSearch for. And so it's really exciting to see those kinds of things. And I think that really is where how open source projects gains momentum and becomes truly transformative.
And this also made me wonder, what are, of course, AI is there. I'll talk about that. I'll keep that for the end. Otherwise, it will just hijack the whole discussion. What are the use cases? You just gave one example where we had a discussion also because the project was kind of announced last year. We started a project with Linux is a great example with one intention, but as you put it out in public, the way users come and start using it, that even you get overwhelmed. Oh, I did not even see that kind of use case there. So, and as we are looking at these new emerging use cases or workloads, how are you seeing that where even you're like, I did not even envision that this is where OpenSearch will cater to the market?
Yeah, again, several use cases. I mean, this is probably a tempting time to get into Gen AI, but we are especially with how search and is evolving in the world of Gen AI and LLMs. We are seeing a lot of like search fundamentally is changing, and if you think of OpenSearch as the next generation of search platform. So we are seeing, I talked about Uber, but we are seeing, customers or users like Adobe who are taken OpenSearch and they've built you have like PDF documents, like Gen AI summarization based on those PDFs. And so if you go use Adobe Acrobat and you look at that and the Gen AI summarization that's powered by OpenSearch. And then if you look at SAP, they are using OpenSearch for more on the log analytics side and observability side, and it powers their logging platform. And it powers it at scale. They have, I think they were at our last OpenSearch conference, and they were talking about how they have thousands of clusters of OpenSearch for all their different customers. And so it's really exciting to see not only to use for Gen AI use cases, but also for large observability use cases.
I will go back to Gen AI. I remember I want to ask that question as well, as you're talking about the core maintainers. Of course, there are a lot of drive-by patches coming, a lot of configuration, and then also core maintainers. What are the efforts that you folks are making to ensure that the core maintainers, because it is tricky because you need to have very deep knowledge about that, but that is also foundational, like the Linux kernel, they're core maintainers, So what are you doing to kind of ensure that there are enough core maintainers for the sustenance of the project? Because yes, drive-by patches are good, but that's not sustainable for long term.
Totally, 100%. So one of the things, as a part of being part of the Linux Foundation, we have a technical steering committee, and with the committee, we have, a bold set of vision in terms of, wanting to move OpenSearch to be a more, to a more cloud native architecture. Now, imagine kind of redoing the entire architecture of OpenSearch to be in this modern way, right? That requires some fundamental changes. And to do those fundamental changes, you need a set of, people in the community who can understand and make those changes. So, we are partnering again with several community members to make sure that we are working towards that goal. And by doing so, we are, building and keeping that sort of core maintainers who are driving that project forward and continue to innovate on the project. And so, the way those happen is that you make these fundamental changes to the actual software, and then a set of folks, who can then kind of take it forward.
Excellent, thank you. Now I'll come back to AI Gen AI again. I like to look at from two different lenses. One is that as catering to the Gen AI or AI workloads, and second, leveraging AI for OpenSearch itself.
Right.
How would you look at it from two different lenses?
I mean, so for Gen AI, look, if you think about the Gen AI use cases, right, search is a pretty critical piece of it, and vector database is needed for any Gen AI application. And OpenSearch is both a leading search and a vector database project. And so what we are seeing is many users in the community adopt OpenSearch for large use cases where they're building GenAI applications and leveraging all the rich capabilities of OpenSearch, whether it's rich analytical capabilities, rich filtering capabilities, all of those to power these GenAI applications. And with the evolution of agentic and OpenSearch now supports model context protocol and powerful tools, we are seeing even more interesting use cases. We are seeing users being able to ask very ambiguous questions, and with the combination of LLMs and OpenSearch's powerful analytical capabilities, being able to get very insightful answers from their data in OpenSearch. So it's really fascinating to see how OpenSearch is not only used as a platform but also as an analytical tool.
What is the role or scope of gateway or strands for OpenSearch?
So OpenSearch is integrated into Strands as one of the tools that's available. That if you're building an agent, you can put your data in OpenSearch and leverage kind of the powerful capabilities of OpenSearch.
I think I have most of the questions that I wanted. Anything else from your point of view that Swapnil, this is really critical for OpenSearch software? We should discuss that, or do you think we have hit on some core points?
I mean, I think we covered a lot on the search and the GenAI. The one other area which is really important and I think is also transforming is the observability use case. Like OpenSearch is a rich log analytics platform, has a lot of analytical capabilities. So if you are a DevOps user and you want to get started, you can get started with OpenSearch and do your log analytics. The thing that's transforming is again with GenAI, we are now able to leverage OpenSearch's analytical capabilities combined with the GenAI capabilities to get to root cause very quickly. And so this can accelerate your debugging and being able to get to resolve any issue quickly. And so a lot of innovation going on that front as well. And so overall, just lot of innovation both on the search space but also on the observability space.
Before we wrap this up, of course, this is the open source project, so there's nothing, people can always check where the project is heading, but 3.1 is out. What is next in the pipeline of the projects to solve the problems, or when we look at the next release, what to expect there?
A lot of very interesting things. We've one of the areas where we are exploring and the community members are discussing is the agentic memory space. So agents, like in addition to using tools, require memory to maintain context. And so we are exploring, I think OpenSearch could be a powerful platform to build that kind of capability, given it's a search and a vector database. And so that's an area where we think there's a lot of interesting innovation that's going to happen. Of course, all the things that we've done on the model context side or on the other areas will continue to innovate. There's a lot of demand and from users on these particular areas as well, and so we're going to see that as well.
Mukul, once again, thank you so much for joining me. Give us an update on open source software, and as usual, I look forward to chat with you again when the next release is out and more momentum, more growth of the project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Swapnil, for having me, and really glad to talk about OpenSearch and the momentum we are seeing.